Guess what? Far Cry 1 is $3 on Steam. Far Cry is the best Ubisoft series. My opinion is correct. Better than Assassin's Creed. Better than Watch Dogs. Better than Tom Clancy. Better than Rayman. The games are known for their realistic healing animations, brutal stealth kills, and menacing villains. Well, the first game had none of those. You want cracking your pinky back into its socket? Too bad, buddy. All you get is walking into the medkit and the main character walks away like nothing happened. Oh yeah, might as well talk about this guy now. You play as Jack Carver, some dude. He's on a vacation enjoying being on top of the flagpole when all of a sudden... it could be worse. Also, is this supposed to be Jack on the box art? I know they're wearing the same clothes and all, but they barely look alike. The man in the water looks nothing like a potato. So Jack wakes up and soon finds out that Chuck Norris over here wants him dead. Why? I didn't play that far yet. He then finds an iPod that can talk. The iPod's name is Doyle, who tells Jack to go shoot some fellas and ransack their house. Whoa. I mean, for a game from 2005, this doesn't look half bad. Well, I can see the corner of the skybox where the world ends, and goodness gracious me, is that a helicopter or a giant metal banana? So Doyle tells me to try not to alert any of the guards, but that's virtually impossible when they randomly decide to know my location. You see this meter down here by the minimap? Yeah, that's the stealth meter, and it's useless. You'd think that crouching would decrease your chances of being seen, but nope. Every enemy in this game has 20/20 vision. And if you do manage to sneak up behind one, they spin around at the last second and all the other enemies are alerted. What is this logic? You're wearing soundproof headphones. How do you hear me crouching behind you? In fact, lots of this game makes no sense. Like, why can't I take body armor from dead enemies? How are they shooting me through a wall? Why do vehicles lose a large fraction of their health from the tiniest bumps? Why does it make a punching sound when I'm clearly slicing this pig? Oh, don't mind me, guys. I'm just playing the hit game, Granny. Did I ever mention how much I love the sound design in this game? Anyway, Jack finds his way to a cargo ship and moseys his way on inside. He discovers that, apparently, they're holding his girlfriend in some place called the bunker. This is also where we're introduced to the not-so-villainous villain of the game, George Krieger. So he's doing some sort of experiments on these remote islands, but according to Doyle, he's a naughty nincompoop, so now it's our job to stop him. Far Cry villains are usually praised for being the best parts of the games. Voss, Pagan Min, the Jackal, Joseph Seed, Anton Castillo, but this game says screw all that, you get Joe Biden. Well, I guess the other villains didn't exist yet, but I don't care, I'm still gonna complain about it. This game is almost 20 years old, and it's aged like a grandma in the sun. I gotta be honest though, these first parts of the game are actually really challenging. I'm playing on medium difficulty, and yet I've died like 20 times at the first outpost. What's this? Now Doyle wants me to go blow up a satellite? This is the point of the game where you have to venture through a jungle filled with enemies to try to get to your next objective. And I gotta say, if you ever play this game, never try to explore. Doyle tells you that it's safe to travel through the jungle instead of on paths, but if you take his advice, you will get lost. Sometimes the only way to get to the next objective is to stay on the paths, so the game tells you to do one thing when you're supposed to do the opposite. Once again, the logic fails to make any sense. As I made my way towards the bunker, I picked up tons of new weapons to try out, and my favorite is probably the sniper rifle. Not only does it zoom in up to 18x, it also is very satisfying to use. You don't have to load in a bullet every time you take a shot, which is really convenient, especially when taking out outposts. The only problem I have with it is that you can't move when aiming. If you try to, the game just kind of forces you out of zooming, which isn't a good thing when you have to snipe a horde of enemies all running at you from different directions, but you can only stay in one position. Anyway, up to the bunker I go, and Jack overhears Biden talking about some of his experiments getting out of control. They have superhuman abilities and are also very unstable. So how does Krieger decide to fix this issue? He puts his own DNA into them to hopefully make them easier to control. Great. Just what I needed. I hope I won't have to fight these things later in the game, because then they're all going to look like him. So I plant the explosives and try to run, but they detonate before he can even escape. It's one of the most epic scenes in the game so far, and it gets cut off to a loading screen. Now I'm using a hang glider, but uh-oh, here comes a helicopter. For some reason, this part was really hard for me to get past. The helicopter kept bonking me off my glider, and I either fell into the water and got shot by a boat, or fell onto the dock and broke both my legs. Now we have to blow up another thing, but this time it's an outpost guarded by the strongest helicopter I've ever seen. Just look at how many bullets it took to take out their gunner. Speaking of the helicopter, do not climb up onto outpost towers if one spots you. They can bomb you even if you've already killed their gunner. I found that out the hard way, and now I'm deaf in my left ear. So after I blow up the armory on this outpost, Doyle tells me to
take a vehicle if you can and get to the pier. I'm on my way to you now.
Oh joy.
That was scarier than any horror game I've ever played. And I played Luigi's Mansion.